Welcome to The Lineman Life, a podcast for power professionals. Here's your host, David Spooner.
Good evening, Brother Lineman. You know, everyone has people that help them get through their apprenticeship. You know, being an apprentice is like going on a long journey to reach a destination. And that destination is the land of knowledge. And the land of knowledge happens to be Journeyman Lineman. You know, on this journey, the apprentice is going to run into forks in the road. The lineman on his crew are guides on how to reach the destination quickly and efficiently. Some apprentices take the lineman's advice and keep on the straight path, which takes them directly to Journeyman Lineman. Some apprentices will not listen, and they venture onto the wrong path, full of curves and hills. You know, when I first made apprentice, I had a hard head. I was cocky. I thought I knew it all when I first started. There were times when I got to the fork in the road and I took the wrong path. But I had a foreman who never gave up on me. He always worked with me, but he wasn't afraid to stick a boot up my ass when I needed it. One day we were hanging a 2-pot open delta bank on a pole. The pole happened to be extra tall because it was beside a railroad track. And this pole had transformers on it before, and for some reason they had been removed. But the cutouts were still there, and the pole was still drilled out. So the lineman decided it was a good idea for me, the apprentice, to climb up there and hang these transformers back. So I climbed the pole. So when I got there, I noticed there was already holes drilled out for me to hang the transformers. Well, my foreman told me he wanted the holes drilled out 1.5 feet further down the pole than the ones that were already there. Well, I had just come back from a week of apprentice class, and we had done framing and all our measurements. So of course I knew better. You know, I started telling him, hey, you know, that's the wrong measurement. You know, this is wrong. Why do I have to re-drill it again? You got the measurements all wrong. But what I didn't know was, like I said, this was a tall pole. So the truck we had, the winch truck, could not reach high enough to hang those transformers on the existing holes that were there. And they wanted to drill out the holes lower so we could use the truck to hang the transformers. And this was going to help me because I was the one up the pole. If I had to hang the transformers higher on the pole, I would have had to rig up something to make it work, since the winch truck wouldn't work. So when I came down off that pole, that foreman pulled me off to the side and said, "Let me tell you something. Don't you ever question me about something like this. I had a reason that I was doing that. And if you don't like to follow direction, maybe the best thing for you to do is find a different profession." And the reason I'm talking about all this is I just found out that foreman passed away. I was on his crew my entire apprenticeship. You know, he taught me many lessons on the job, and he also taught me lessons about life. This foreman was a very respected guy. He was the business agent for the union. He came from a large family. He had 6 brothers. He loved people. He never met a stranger. Whenever we were out in public, he always loved talking to customers, anybody. He always loved people. He loved to talk to people. And the other thing about him, I never heard him say a bad word about anyone. Now, back in those days, a couple times a week, all the crew would go to this little small bar in this town where we worked. The bar was just an old brick building. It was very small, maybe 20 by 20. It was named after the man that owned it. And the man's last name was Butler. So it was Butler's. They had the coldest beer anywhere in town. When you opened a beer at Butler's, it was so cold, it used to have little small ice chips in it. Wasn't frozen, right on the verge of being frozen. The only beer my foreman would ever drink was Old Milwaukee. They had to order beer especially for him because nobody else would drink Old Milwaukee. And we used to always laugh about it. He also used to smoke Pall Mall cigarettes. You know, the filterless ones. You know, my foreman, everybody that walked in that bar, my foreman knew them. And we spent many hours in Butler's not talking about line work, but just talking about life. You know, after many wrong turns, I finally made the final destination, Journeyman Lineman. My foreman told me the day I made Journeyman, linemen are a part of a brotherhood. From now until the day you die, every lineman is your brother. So I guess I just lost a brother. So long, Ronald Coster. And thanks for everything you taught me. Everyone on that crew is now dead except for one person. Butler's closed many years ago. The only thing that remains is the lines we built together and the knowledge Ronald passed down to me. Riding around today and seeing some of those poles we set and the lines we built, it makes me smile and takes me back to the carefree days of my apprenticeship. Ronald, I wish I could have seen you one more time before you passed so I could tell you, thank you again. You took me from being a young, stupid kid to a man, and for that, I will always be grateful. Appreciate everybody listening. Keep safe, and remember, you are your brother's keeper. Aloha.